Vietnam, a land of contrasts. For some, it's a bustling maze of motorbikes and markets. For others, it's a serene escape, a place where timeless tradition stand tall. Join us as we drift slowly through the heart of the country, peeling back its layers and exploring the lesser traveled paths and various untold stories.
Hey guys, today we are in the city of Hue, which is actually the ancient capital of Vietnam.
We're going to be spending the next few days in the city and we're very excited to see what it has in store for us. Our adventure through the heart of Vietnam begins at a bustling market. It's early in the morning, but the market seems to already be in full swing, buzzing with the sounds of a variety of vendors. Markets here in Hue. If you come here early in the morning, you will see it is very popular among the locals. They come here to get their fresh vegetables, to their fresh meats and everything in between. So it's quite an interesting spot to come and see a little bit more of the local life here. This market was built in the 1880s, which means it is over 150 years old. And while walking around it today, you can still get a very old feel. Lots of the ladies have the traditional Vietnamese hats on, and the vegetables and fruits are sold in these traditional bamboo bowls that you can see down all these very narrow alleyways. Just like many other markets in Asia, this one is also very busy. There are scooters, there's ladies shouting to sell things, so it can be a bit of a sensory overload. There is also a very strong smell in some sections of like the fish or the meat has got quite that strong potent smell to it. So it's a very authentic traditional market. Today, Hue's streets are peaceful and filled with the vibrant lives of locals and tourists. But in fact, they weren't always this calm. As we wander around, we see some echoes of its past, reminders of the fierce battles that in fact once turned the city into a war zone during the Vietnam War in 1968. We make our way to the city's most famous attraction, the Old Imperial City, a World Heritage Site and the former capital of the Nguyen dynasty. We are currently at one of the most popular attractions here in Hue, the Imperial City. It is then the center of the old city. The grand palaces, ornate temples, and vast courtyards inside this walled city speak of a time when emperors ruled and it was at the heart of Vietnamese power. The tickets for the Imperial City are 200,000 Vietnamese dong per person, so it is a little bit on the higher side, but it is a really big area to walk around. There's lots to see actually. What you can also do is you can join a guide or pay for a private guide as well to walk you around, or you also can do an audio guide, so you can get like a little MP3 player, and then it has the numbers on almost every building or everything of significance that it will say the number, so you can know exactly what to listen to, and there's a code to scan as well. So I think it's quite a good way to better understand the area is if you're able to listen to the history or have a guide explain it to you, because the Imperial City does have a lot of history to it and it plays quite an important role in Vietnamese history. Across this little cafe over here. It's quite a rustic little cafe and it has this really beautiful pond around it. So we're going to stop and have a cup of coffee before we carry on exploring.
So obviously when you visit here, the most common comparison is the one that's made to the Forbidden Palace in Beijing. And I would say there are many similarities in the way that it's constructed. It's a walled city and there is a moat around it to keep the rest of the city outside. So in that way it's quite similar. But then it has its own special characteristics because the walls are quite worn out. It gives you the feeling that it's a historical place. And around the compound you'll also see some construction going on. I think efforts are being made to probably restore it as a historical monument.
While driving around, we have come across an Incense Village, which is basically quite a long street that has got stalls on either side of it that sell incense, and most of them are family run, so they also make the incense here, and they make thousands. As you can see behind me, this is all incense that they make, and they don't just sell them here in Hue, but they also sell them to the rest of Vietnam as well as to export them to other places in the world. And right now, with it coming up to the Lunar New Year, there are a lot of incense being made, as it is a big thing that is used during the celebrations. So it's really beautiful and colorful and definitely worth walking around.
Okay, like one more. Any color?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Are you ready to make incense?
One more.
Oh, okay.
More?
It's not that easy.
Easy. Wow!
Well done.
Thank you. While walking around the Incense Village, we met this very enthusiastic, lovely shop owner who was so excited to show us the process of how she makes the incense for her store, and she gave us like a little demonstration, and then she even showed me how to make it. It is not as easy as it looks. You have to have quite a bit of control to push the stick through. Like, you have to push it the exact right amount, or else too much incense comes out. So it's not as easy as it looks, but it was really cool to try, and she was so sweet and so excited. So it was really just like a really nice experience to get to interact with the locals and understand a little bit more about something that they take a lot of pride in. We are now at a water park, but it is not just any water park. It is actually an abandoned water park, and it has got quite a special feature. So let's go check it out. The once thriving amusement park now stands in a state of decay, with nature slowly reclaiming its territory. It is a bit eerie, but still has a standout feature: the dragon that emerges from the center of the lake. As of 2024, this water park is still here. It is still abandoned. We're not too sure why it is abandoned, but they do have plans to demolish it rather soon. We hope that when you make it to Vietnam, you are able to check it out. So if you plan on coming here or have even been here, let us know in the comments below. We would love to know if it is still standing.
So it is lunchtime now, so what we have done is we have driven back into the city. So we're going to see if we can find something a bit more traditional to taste.
Okay, so for lunch we have found a restaurant that offers a platter of 5 traditional Vietnamese dishes, so you get to taste a little bit of each one. So if you're keen to check it out, we have linked it in a Google Maps in the description box below if you want to come and check it out. Our first dish is called bun beo, which is a traditional Vietnamese dish which originates here in Hue. So what it is a base of tapioca flour and rice flour, and then on top of it is crispy pork skin and some dried shrimp, and then it also comes with a dipping sauce. Oh, it's quite sticky. Let's try. It's very crispy. It's like a spring roll. The outside of a spring roll, it's kind of got that texture, the base, and then really crispy pork on top. It's really nice and rich actually, the pork. It's a nice light snack. For our next dish, we also have another dish that originated here in Hue. So this is called a bang quay, and it is basically a rice flour pancake. So it's rice flour that is deep fried, and then it has an egg, tofu, a prawn or shrimp, and some bean sprouts in it. Let's give this a try. It's very crunchy. The bean sprouts give it a very like fresh taste. And the batter is very light, very, very crispy. It's a little bit similar to the one we tried in Laos when we were trying street food. This one's just quite a bit more crispy.
So up next we have this dish called Ban Quan Thit Nong. I hope I said that correctly. Sorry if I murdered it. But basically they are wraps made from rice noodles, and they're also served with this fish sauce. So we're gonna give it a go. Let's see how this tastes. So they're very delicate in texture, very soft, so they can break easily. And inside they have meat. I think they have pork inside, and a little bit of lemongrass as well, which adds this nice little zing. So I like it actually. I think it's probably kind of like a breakfast food.
Next we have another very popular dish in central Vietnam called Nem Lui. And what it is it is pork mince that is on a stick of lemongrass. So the pork mince is marinated with fish sauce, salt and pepper. Then it's put on a lemongrass stick and grilled. So what it comes with is some rice paper, a peanut sauce, and then some fresh like vegetables and pickled carrots. So basically what you do is you make your own sort of wrap or spring roll with these ingredients. It's like very crispy rice paper. Alright, so let's put our skewer, some cucumber, some lettuce, and we have some pickled carrots. We're going to wrap it up. Now you're not supposed to eat the lemongrass, so you have to pull it out like that.
Well done.
The rice paper kind of just dissolves in your mouth, and the pickled carrots add a really nice sour bite to it. The peanut sauce that comes with it doesn't have a very strong peanut taste because it is also made with pork liver in it. So I think personally I like it without the sauce just as it is.
The final item on our menu are the classic Vietnamese spring rolls. So they are served with a sweet and sour sauce. So let's give this a try. Can't really go wrong with these. Nice, crunchy, delicious.
So we have just finished lunch and it was a really tasty lunch. I am very impressed. And for the price of 150 Vietnamese dollars, it was really worth it. You get to taste 5 really good dishes and it gives you an idea of what other food to try. Further on, like decide what you like, what you don't like, and then you can have more of that in the future. So I definitely think it's a good way to introduce yourself to Vietnamese food. Now we are going to make our way to another very popular historical monument here in Hue. One of the things we have really enjoyed about Hue is being right by the Perfume River. So this river runs through the city, and on one side you have the older city and then on the other side is the more modern city. But the really nice thing about this river is that on each side there is a bit of a park and very nice pavements to walk along that are so clean and very well maintained. And there is a lovely breeze all the time as well. So sometimes there'll be a few bikes that come past you, but the rest of the time it is really nice just to go for a stroll and you get a bit away from all the craziness. There's the fresh water and it's just a nice break from the city. One thing we've noticed so far with our travels through Vietnam is there are not a lot of pavements to go for walks on, or even just when you're trying to walk to dinner or lunch, it can be quite difficult to walk around. There are bikes everywhere and there are bikes parked on what pavement there is, so then you're kind of like going like this the whole time trying to walk, so it's a little bit unpleasant. However, here in Hue we have found that there are such nice big pavements to walk on, and like now along the Perfume River there's a little wooden deck right into the river that I'm just walking along now, which is really nice. You can watch the boats go by and you can see like some of the life. There's some people selling things up at top, and there are people taking little pictures. It's a really nice relaxing place to go for a walk, and it's very well maintained.
We have stopped to get some coffee, and we have chosen this really aesthetically pleasing little coffee shop. They have their own little like garden courtyard, and then just across the road from the coffee shop is the Perfume River. You'll actually find that along the Perfume River there are many cafes you can choose from. We just chose this one for its really nice little garden. We have gotten a salted coffee, which is very popular here in Hue. Almost every coffee shop you go into, they immediately recommend the salted coffee. It is basically fermented milk with a little bit of salt in it, and they say that the salt breaks the bitterness of the coffee beans, so instead of adding sugar, you add a bit of salt. And then it comes with some ice, so you can add as much ice as you like to the coffee. Was really creamy, and the salt actually gives it like a salted caramel taste. I would say it's more like a dessert than like a coffee, but it's really nice.
So I have ordered this mixed flower coffee, which actually looks pretty cool. Almost looks like a cool cocktail. So let's give it a go. That is really good. It's almost like a flower tea mixed with coffee, so it's quite delicious.
Something to make note of when planning a trip to Hue is that a lot of the attractions here have quite high entrance fees compared to like some of the other places we have been. A lot of the fees range from 100,000 Vietnamese dong to over 200,000, so it gets quite expensive. So just keep that in mind if you're like a backpacker or you're on a tight budget. Then when planning your trip, just like have a look for free options. There are some free attractions, like the pagoda we're at now has no entrance fee and is actually really well kept and has a lot to walk around and look at. So this would be a great option if you're looking for something free to do. Traveling, we always enjoy exploring these different temples and pagodas because they're always so nice and quiet and peaceful, and it's a great way to learn a little bit more about the different countries, as each one will teach you something about the country and its history. Also, what's really nice about this pagoda is there are lovely gardens to walk around, and the wind in the trees, it just sounds so nice and peaceful. There's also different types of gardens. There's bonsai gardens and then like a bit of a forest as well. So it's a really nice place to come for a stroll around, and you get to learn a little bit more about Vietnam as well.
It is evening time and we are now at this popular spot in Hue, which is called the Walking Street. What's actually interesting is there are no stalls along the street, but there are a lot of different restaurants along both sides of the street. Quite a nice place, and we are going to see if we can find some nice dinner here. Wow!
To end our day, we have found a nice little local Vietnamese restaurant where we get to sit on the street and just watch Vietnamese local life while eating one of the most famous Vietnamese dishes. This is called bun bo hue, which is rice noodles with beef and a stock that has lemongrass being kind of like the main ingredient here. So I'm really excited to give it a try. It has a very strong lemongrass taste to it, which is very nice. And the noodles are cooked really well. They're nice and soft. It's a very basic meal, but it's very subtle in its flavors. So I think it's like a nice way to end the day.
So some final thoughts from Hue. We'd probably say that it's not in the spotlight when you talk about traveling through Vietnam usually, especially compared to its counterparts such as Hanoi or Saigon, but it's also what makes it unique. The city has a quiet charm, and that probably makes it ideal for slow travelers who like to soak in the moment rather than hop from one landmark to another.
If you do plan on visiting Hue, we highly recommend you explore it on your own a little bit, especially on a scooter. We got to see some really unique and strange things this way that we probably would have missed otherwise, and we just loved the drive through the Incense Village as well as checking out the abandoned park.
That's it from this episode. We really hope that you enjoyed exploring Hue with us. Now we're about to get some much needed rest before we head out tomorrow for our next destination in central Vietnam.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in our next episode. Bye for now.